have psychic medium Angela Cook with us, and she's going to explain a little bit of what kind of work she does. But I've known you for, I guess, give and take about 7 years.
Yeah.
So
Crazy.
we're going to have also someone come in later on and have a small reading with Angela Cook. So thank you for joining us today in my podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
And I've always loved your work because you come with a very angelic energy when you do your readings and you can feel it. And hopefully, people who watch this podcast can also pick up on your energy. So, can you explain to us what's the difference between a psychic and a medium?
Yes. So first of all, I believe everybody's psychic. We're born psychic. We have that seed of intuition. You know, when you get that gut feeling or you just know something, it's what the heck did I know that? That's your soul wanting to communicate. That's your higher being trying to tell you something for your highest good. So when you feel that feeling of like being nervous or hesitant or really getting like these red flags in your system, listen to that. That's your intuition. That's your psychic soul talking to you. Pay attention. And unfortunately, when we're young, we all kind of have it. We all have it, but it's a matter of getting it out of our own way to really hear it and receive it, right? So I believe everybody's psychic. There are people like myself and my dad and my kids who are just born into it. You're just born psychic. And like instead of losing that or like numbing it down, it's just so wrong. And so not only can you hear it for yourself, but you can hear it for other people. And that's always for the highest purpose. It's never gonna, if you're a true psychic, you're not gonna steer somebody in a bad direction, right? It's always gonna be for their highest good. So it's a
Hmm.
little bit like counseling and I do. So
Yes.
that's psychic. Mediumship, I believe everyone has the ability also to communicate with their loved ones. Everybody thinks that their loved ones are so far away, but how they've shown me, it's like pulling back a veil or a curtain, right? Asking them to come forward, just like having a conversation with them. When you have a conversation, or say I'm doing a reading for you and I say, oh, bring a photo with you. Sometimes I say that because I know that the person that they most want to hear from will be with them. It's just an act of finding a photo. They're with them, they're calling them to them, right? Saying, hey, I'm thinking about you, I want to communicate with you, please show up and be present. So it's talking to our loved ones in spirit. That's what mediumship is.
Okay. And since what age do I guess, at what age did you recognize that you had these abilities?
3. 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
I had a nightmare. This is the first thing that I can remember. Well, honestly, I have memories going back to 6 months, 6 months old, like clear memories of like seeing stars and airplanes from my changing table. I remember having these flashbacks as a teenager, and I would describe my room as a baby, and my mom's like, "How do you remember that?" I'm like, "I have memories." She's like, "But you couldn't even talk." So I've had memories, unusual memories at a very young age, which I think is kind of unusual. But my first clear psychic experience that I remember, I was 3, and it was a nightmare and a premonition that came true. And it was for a 3-year-old horrifying because it involved the passing of my dog. But my dog didn't have any signs of being ill. But in my dream, I could see my mom and my sister bringing the dog to the vet. And never being at the vet's office, seeing the silver table, right? And knowing that something was going to go wrong with my dog and that if they took the dog to the vet, the vet would never come home.
Mm.
And that's what happened. But I couldn't look at my poor dog. For weeks before it happened, I would just scream and cry and say she was going to die, she was going to die, she was going to die. And my dad's like, what's wrong with this child? And sure enough, within 2 weeks, my dog had died.
Mm.
So it was a premonition. Started at 3, and then just, I would say, oh, when I was 5, my best friend died, and I did see her full body at her funeral. We had a full
Wow.
conversation. I saw her laying in her coffin, but I also saw her with all her beautiful hair that came back, standing right next to herself, and we just had an out loud conversation.
Oh,
And
wow.
her dad had to pick me up and carry me out of the room because here's this little 5-year-old talking out loud to her best friend. It was tearing everybody up. But in that moment, I was never sad again for my friend.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't understand why everyone was crying. I'm like, but she's right there and her hair grew back. She's so beautiful.
Right. Which they
So
couldn't see, but
they couldn't see. And they just thought, oh, this poor little girl losing her best friend. But I never cried for Genesee again after that. Because I knew she was fine. She was perfect.
wow. Yeah. You
No,
started at a very young age.
yeah. So very young age. But then it progressed through high school, just like knowing stuff about people. It was kind of funny. Took it kind of as a joke,
Mhm.
until I was a little bit older, and this girl who I worked with, something was wrong with her. She walked in, and I'm like, what's wrong with her? Like, I just got this overwhelming sense, like, oh my God, something's wrong. And I looked at her, and I'm like, you're pregnant. And we were young. I think we were about 20. And she's like, no, I'm not pregnant. I thought I was pregnant. I'm not. I've taken 2 pregnancy tests and negative. Day goes on. I'm like, there's something wrong with her though. Like I just couldn't shake there was something wrong with her. All of a sudden I'm looking at her and I could see inside her body. And I could see she had an ectopic pregnancy. The baby was stuck in her fallopian tube.
So you
And the
kinda
other
saw,
side,
like, X-ray type
I
vision?
could just see right inside her body. I could see that there was her fallopian tube and I could see this little tiny like ball inside there. And then the other side I saw a big fibroid tumor. But then I heard that's not important. The baby's important. I told her, you need to go to the hospital. You can't even go home. You have to leave here and go to the hospital. And I told her what I thought was going on with her. And
Uh-huh.
she listened to me. The 20-year-old girl listened to me. And then the front office lady called and said, she goes, Holly's in the hospital. She wanted me to call you and say thank you. The doctor said it saved your life. She has an ectopic pregnancy and her fallopian tube was about to burst.
Oh, wow.
And so then I thought, this is freaky.
Yeah.
And you would have thought I would have taken it more seriously at the time, but I just back then, that would be the early 90s. There wasn't all these shows, right? Like now it's everywhere. It's all over the internet. Well, didn't have it. It's all over television, wasn't on television. I didn't know who to talk to. I was just kind of like, what do I do with it? I don't know.
And this actually brings another, topic that, these kids are born with abilities, and
Mhm.
are your kids have any of these abilities?
My daughter Nicole is very psychic. And it started when she was 3. 3, I guess, is kind of a magic number. I don't know what it is about the age of 3, but she would just know things. And it would be freaky. Like she could get inside your head and just be like, kind of didn't want you to know that right now. And she also started with dreams. She
Oh,
had very vivid dreams. She had a dream about my sister's coworker. She knew the name. She knew her name was Anna. She never met her. My sister didn't talk about her. But she had a foresight. So a week or so before it happened, she saw this lady Anna standing at her front porch, and all of a sudden her leg snapped and she fell. And like the bone or something like came out of her leg. My 3-year-old seeing all this, and she was yelling for help, but nobody can hear her. And her face was white. She said her face turned white. Well, that would be like somebody going into shock, right? So I told everybody about it because I knew 2 Annas, and then my sister did know an Anna at work, and she just happened to tell her. Less than a week later, it was the lady at work, exactly that. She was standing on her porch, something with her feet, like something with her bone. She fell, her leg broke, and nobody could hear her because it was nighttime. She was screaming, and she
oh,
was
dang.
shocked.
Oh, wow.
So isn't that the strangest thing?
Well, it can really be, yeah, traumatizing for, you know,
For a little
little kid
kid
watching
not
it.
not understanding because it's not like a normal dream. When you have these dreams, they really stand out and they're very different. So I do try to counsel people, especially those who have kids. I have worked with some young kids and just kind of help them to embrace what they have, not to be afraid of it. And you can also set boundaries with your guides and angels. Like don't show me that. I'm
Mhm.
too young for that. There's
Right.
not a whole lot I can do with that. I've even had some of my premonitions I've asked my guides and angels to remove them because if I can't change it, I don't want to know it. It causes me a lot of stress to like
Yeah.
see horrific things happen before they happen.
Right. Yeah, I think I've known a few cases that you have helped these kids channel this energy
Hmm.
um and guide them. So if anybody watching this podcast know like, oh yeah, that's my sister or that's my nephew, my niece, they're going through this, then they know they can reach out to you and get some form of help.
Yeah. And
Mm.
just to know that they're not alone and they're not going crazy.
Yes.
And it really is a gift. I always try to encourage people, whether you're young or you're older, if you have this ability, really try to tap into it because a lot of people are scared of it. They're scared of what they don't understand. And to me, this is a gift from God. There's no way I could do anything like this if it wasn't a gift from God. And
Yeah.
so just tapping into that and surrendering. I think surrender is a really big part of it. And just saying, use me how you choose to use me and just being open to it, receiving messages of love and healing, allowing that bridge from heaven to here, making that connection so that it can help heal people. That's really why I think that certain people have that ability stronger so that we can just be a bridge and help facilitate healing for people.
Do you think that, because I read somewhere that after, well, these few years, a lot of kids, they're called either indigos or crystal kids. These are
Mhm.
kids that have these abilities, psychic abilities, telepathic abilities. Do you feel like it's increasing?
I do. I think I used to be a dental assistant, and so I worked in a pediatric dental office, and I get spotted. I would just be like so in tune with these kids, like I could feel their heart. You know what I mean? And they're usually like kind of outcasts. A lot of them, kind of loners,
Yeah,
quirky. They feel like they don't belong here. They feel like sometimes they're born in the wrong time. They're usually very creative energies,
yeah,
and they have a lot to offer the world. And a lot of them have a lot of anxiety. They come into the world with a lot of nervousness. And so I think getting them young to tap into meditation is such a gift for them because it really is a struggle sometimes being that different and being that open because we feel things. They tend to be more emotional too.
yeah. I heard that these kids, when they go to school, they don't like to hang out with certain kids because they're like, every time I hang out with this kid, I feel horrible. I don't feel good because they're very sensitive to energy. They
Yes.
also, yeah, they also don't like eating meat. They're very picky with their food, so they
Mhm.
like to stick with fruits and no meat. I also do know they're very attracted to the spiritual side, which would be like crystals or yoga or meditation. Like all that stuff just like helps them and relaxes them.
It's true. My next door neighbors, the first time I ever held a crystal, it's because my neighbors went to the desert and they would find amethyst and just throw it in with their rocks on the driveway. And as a little kid standing outside, I'm like, oh, what is that? Sparkling purple stone. So me being super shy, it didn't matter. I wanted those stones so bad I knocked on the door and asked if I could have some. I
Oh,
was so drawn to amethyst. Like, so that was the first crystal I ever had. And I would wrap them all up in tissue and I'm like, this is this one. Like I would talk to my crystal. It was weird. I was that little weird kid, but I love crystals. I love stones. I see that in my own kids. My one daughter, like she's so everybody else is gone, right? Like they all do their thing at the beach, and her and I will be dragging along the back, looking for shells and like looking at rocks and being like identifying different like properties in the stones and stuff at the beach. It's like either you have it or you don't.
Yeah, right. Well, amethyst is a beautiful stone. It's purple.
Hmm.
It's really nice. It's
And
just
it's
like
really
rose
good for
quartz.
anxiety. So,
It does actually helps with anxiety. Yes,
mhm.
and that's what Also, kids are like afraid of the dark, and because they're innocent kids, they're so sensitive to energy. But I think when it comes to a parent, if they can distinguish between them seeing something at dark, for example, like they're afraid of the dark, but are they seeing something in the night that's scaring them, or they're just scared of the dark, you know? And I think that's like the difference that we need to, as a parent, figure out, okay, what's really affecting the child? Is it because they're seeing things, or it's just because it's dark, you know? And
Exactly.
get
And
them a
like,
nightlight.
yeah, I always have to have my nightlight on. And
Get them a
just
nightlight.
it seems like whenever spirit wants to come around and make that connection, a lot of times it'll be when we're the most quiet, right? So kids are active all day long, so when are the most alone, most quiet in their room.
Yes.
So
It is scary when if you have some form of abilities when you're young, the night it could be it's very scary. I
yeah.
mean, yeah. So there is crystals that helps kids give them that confidence that they'll be okay at night, they'll be
Mhm.
protected. So Angela, you like to do your readings one on one. You don't really like group with a lot of people.
Well, I've not done it before, and I'm doing one coming up on the 17th.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I do. I prefer for me because it tends to go deep. A lot of times, my readings, a lot of times it turns into a therapy session.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I like prefer doing one on one because I can't control what spirit wants to tell somebody. And sometimes it gets pretty deep and personal.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've had a few readings from you, and yeah, it does get really deep. So the one-on-one is better, honestly, for
Yeah,
people.
I like it, and I feel like if when it's platform and everybody else is listening, I think that's a good healing tool also because even though you might not be the one getting the reading, you might relate so much to the message that it can help heal you also. So I'm pushing myself. I'm pushing myself to get out there and do the platform. So
But you're gonna talk about a recent case study that you had, and
yeah,
tell us how you came across that one.
it was a few years ago. It was very interesting. I can't even remember. I was on Facebook and I don't know what format or platform it was on, but it was somebody posted a missing person. It was this girl Pam's brother, and it was a picture of him. It was just a picture of him, and I was looking at the picture, and I could see an image real quick of a black truck, and I heard he'll be found in a black truck. So I'm like, oh my god! So that means he's passed. So instantly knew he's passed, and I knew he had been drinking that night. He was at a bar or a restaurant. So I just kind of typed that in. I said, does this man have a black truck? And if yes, was he possibly at a bar or restaurant that night? And so somebody reading that, who was a friend of his sister, said, yes, he does have a black truck. And the last known place he was at a bar. So I kind of said who I am and what I do and stuff. So the sister got in touch with me, and she lived in Texas. And I could see the place he was at. I could see the two people he was talking to, describing them. She knew who they were. Conflict. There was conflict there. And I said, did your brother have a tendency to pop off? Because he said I popped off. I was popping off his mouth, drinking, and he was popping off, saying things he shouldn't say. It was causing conflict. And I felt like these two people followed him, and I could see the path of his house. And she's like, "Oh my God, that's exactly the path that he would go." And like, there's water to the right. At first, I thought he was in that water. I knew he was in water. Um, and I went on Google Maps of that area, and I'm like, that's not the location. I said, he's actually at a different location from where he started. And she said, yes, he started out at one bar, but he ended up at another bar. He was on his way home though, but his truck ended up at the second location. And I said, this is where he is. And I screenshot Google Maps and I put a circle. And I said, this is where he is. And she hired somebody with a drone. And sure enough, she found him like within 2 days. His truck was in the water, under 10 feet of water. And she said it was completely bare. You could not see it. Like if you were standing on the shore, you could look in, you could not see it. But the drone was able to see something.
Wow.
And the police deemed it as an accidental drowning, an accident, but his keys were in his pocket. So
Mm.
how did that happen? I, as well as another medium that she found out there in Texas, we believe it was foul play. And I could see the people, but I'm not someone who gets names. But she knew who it was. She just couldn't get the police to do anything about it. But at
Mm.
least she had her brother back.
Yeah. Yeah. She found him.
Yeah. So that was a very interesting. It just, I wasn't meditating. It just came to me. I just saw his picture and blah blah blah.
Got to work right there.
So it was meant, like his spirit. I used to do that a lot, when I was practicing before I ever saw people. I would go on these forums on Facebook, and people would post photos of people and want a reading. And so if you're drawn to that photo, then you could do reading. So if you have abilities, if you feel you have abilities and you don't know how to practice, that is a fantastic way to practice. You're anonymous, you know? And then
Hmm.
the person gives you feedback if you're right, if you're not right, if things make sense, if you don't. So I did that, gosh, for probably 2 years, as well as taking several classes. But that's a really good way. I really highly recommend that to anyone who feels that they have abilities. Find these forums on Facebook. They're great. Photo read, photo read for people. And I still do that. Like I said, like when you come to see me or if we're doing it online, it's like send me a photo. Just send me photos of certain people that you want to connect with. Could be a loved one or it could even be someone that you're dating or your husband or wife or whatever it is. Um, Photos are a great way to tap into it.
And I know you do this full time. You do full time
Mm-hmm.
psychic medium readings.
Yep.
So and you did a promotion, or I guess uh sweepstakes on your social media for a free reading for this
Yes.
podcast.
Yes.
And we have Yancy. I hope I said it right. Who's gonna get a reading.
And I'm
And
excited because this is her first reading she's ever had. And she responded so quickly. As soon as I posted it, boom, she was like the first one. I would say within like 30 seconds of me posting, hey, do you have a podcast? Anyone interested in a free little mini reading? And there she is. Yeah,
here
she
she is.
popped
So
in, and
Yes. Hello.
I'm happy it was you, Nancy, because we don't really know each other. I don't know anything about you. I don't know your loved one. I haven't read
Right.
you before. You're not one of my regular clients or anything like that.
No,
You
no.
just follow me on Instagram, and it's like I posted that, and you're like, boom, right on it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yes, you win.
she won.
So how I work, Nancy, like when I do reading, I just I'll sit with a person's name and I meditate for like anywhere between 20 minutes, half hour, and whatever spirit tells me, because I get my information from I hear what they say, and I could see quick little it's almost like little movie clips sometimes, you know, and it doesn't always make
Mhm,
sense to me, but I just say whatever I get. And a lot of times too, it'll start off as a psychic reading because I always like to know, especially when I don't know someone. I'm like, tell me something about the person that I'm going to be reading for. It kind of calms me down because I do get anxiety. I want to know who I'm reading for, so I like to start off usually with a psychic reading. So what Spirit was telling me about you is that you're bright, funny, you're outgoing when you feel comfortable, and you lift people up, and you want to be in service for other people. So I feel like that's something really important for you. If you want to, you're a giver, is what I'm getting. Um, has a way of cleaning up people's messes. Because I saw whenever Spirit like shows me like sweeping, like just cleaning up, like sweeping. So I don't know if that's like physically you're cleaning up after people all the time, but usually when I see it as a broom, it's like you kind of come through and you fix things for people, or you like fix situations for people. And I'm hearing she's had a lot.
Yeah.
But like as a young person, you've had a lot. Like there's a lot that you've had to come through, and you've had to be older than what you really are. Does that make sense? Like you're an old soul, aren't you?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Starting at a young age, I feel like you were kind of quiet in some ways, like in your head a lot, like overthinking, thought you still do that, like overthinking, processing, um, worrying. You know, I feel like there's a level of anxiety that you go through. And I feel like you've had that since you were a little kid. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And that has to do with a lot on your plate. Was there a lot going on for you when you were younger that you had to be the fixer or like solving problems?
Yeah, I essentially at the age of 7, I had to become uh like the mom figure to my siblings, because my mom ended up having a bunch of strokes throughout her life.
Hmm.
Yeah, ended up just leaving her with, I guess the best way to describe it is with the mentality of like of a 7-year-old child child mind.
So that would definitely make you the person always fixing. You're the fixer.
Yeah.
And having to become an adult really early. I almost feel like you didn't get much of a childhood because of that.
Yeah,
But
I didn't.
you know what? I just heard a female say, it's like, well, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, doesn't it? Is that your mom in one of the photos that you sent me? The
Yeah,
lady in
it's my mom.
yellow? Yeah. She's giving you pink
Yeah,
roses.
the lady in yellow.
Yeah. She's giving you pink roses right now and kissing you on your forehead. And she's saying, my girl, my girl. Um, she's pointing to your brain. She's like, she's so smart. She's so smart. She's so proud of you. I feel like you put a lot of pressure on yourself though to do more.
Yeah.
And she said, you have to try to let that go because you're carrying it all around you. It's almost like you have a little bit of post-traumatic stress disorder or something. Like there's just a lot. Like you're waiting for the next shoe to fall, or what else is going to happen, or what's next, what's next. Instead of just being able to like write it out, and it's like, okay, things are smooth now. It's like, no, what else is going to happen? When's the next shoe going to fall? So you're almost like um
Waiting for the
waiting.
next thing to happen.
Yeah, like so your body's in this state of tension a lot, and she's like, she puts her hand like on your chest, on your back, and she wants you to breathe. Like just to be able to breathe. She wants you to know that she's smart too. And was she cute? Like, would you describe your mom as cute?
Yeah.
Because I know you said she had a mentality kind of like as a young girl. Um,
Yes.
she still feels that way. She still feels like this young girl. She's like, tell my daughter I look really cute. Like I look really cute. because she's showing me like she doesn't have short hair now.
Okay.
Like she's referencing her hair is more like your hair.
Okay.
And because she keeps going like this. Tell her I have hair. Tell her I have hair. She goes, I have long, pretty hair. She goes, I look so cute. So I'm like, why is she showing me that?
She would always have short hair. I'm sorry. um she would always have like very short cut hair, never really lengthy or anything like that. So
Now she does. She has it long and she says it looks pretty. She can do it herself. She can style it herself. She makes it look nice herself. She wants to say thank you to you for everything that you did for her, but also for the younger one. Do you have younger siblings or something?
yeah, two.
She wants to thank you for all you did for them. She's with a woman, so I feel like that's a grandmother to you. Is that her mom who's in spirit, or a mother to you, another mother to you?
Um they're both grandmothers are in spirit now. Yes.
Okay. She's showing me referencing more so one, so I feel like that's her mom.
Okay.
Um, did your grandmother help take care of you?
That's so yeah, so my paternal grandma is the one we um got raised by essentially.
Okay. Okay, then I think that that would be her because she's saying the other mother is with
Yeah.
me. So I'm feeling like that is then your paternal. Um, she's funny. Grandma, she's funny. She's like on it. She's like on top of things. She's like clapping her hands like that. So that's usually my symbol for like wants it right now. Wants it right now. Like, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Yeah.
She's like, I had to be on top of it. She goes, I had to have eyes everywhere.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. She goes, I had to have eyes everywhere. She goes, it was hard for me just to like sit and be present because she was a worrier too, wasn't she? She was always like, she goes, I had to be one step ahead of it. I had to be one step ahead all the time.
Yeah.
She's got your face like this. She goes, oh. She said, I love the babies.
Uh,
She goes, oh, the faces, the faces. Do you have children?
I do. Was this was this the grandma or my mom?
This is the grandma.
Oh.
Do you have a boy and a girl?
I do.
Did the boy come first and then the girl?
Yeah. This is
She
so
said,
trippy.
we helped you. We helped you. So I feel like she's holding a blue blanket and your mom's got it too. You got a few people over there. You're saying we got to hold the baby first. We held this soul first. Oh, you're so loved. There's a man. Uh, he just showed me his pinky, so I feel like you had him wrapped around your pinky. So I don't know, is this your father or your like someone that you're very close to?
Yes. He so he's technically my stepfather, but he raised me at a like 3 months old, so he was my father.
Yes. He's sitting very straight. He goes, I'm the father. He goes, me.
Yeah.
He goes, nobody else, just me. Yeah, he's funny. He had a funny sense of humor, didn't he? Like kind of sarcastic, or like would like pick on people or tease you or like tease people.
Definitely.
Yeah, because he wants to come through and almost like pick on you a little bit and like tease you and like go like this on the top of your head, like just like he said that he goes, she's a tough cookie, this one. She's tough. And he said I never had to really worry about that. Not like some of the others.
Definitely.
He goes, she has a head on her shoulders. She always wanted to do something. He said she told me she was going to, and she did. He's real proud of you. Something like that. So he's funny because he's just kissing his muscle right now. So
Oh
he's
my
kissing his bicep. And he said, "Tell her I look good." He's like, "Tell her I'm strong again. I'm strong." He didn't like being weak.
God.
He said he's sorry. I feel like his passing was, gosh, you're young to have lost your mom so young, and then your stepdad too. He's just saying he's sorry that he had to go. He didn't want to go. Was there something that he did that caused his passing, or like to speed up his passing or something?
um yeah, he actually it was a suicide um passing. He ended up hanging himself.
Oh, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's why when I was meditating for you, he was like giving you yellow roses, which is always my symbol for apologies, and he's coming through again with apologies. Um, he hadn't been in his right frame of mind for a while, so I could see him pacing like beforehand, like pacing. So I feel like he was going through something for quite a while, and his thoughts were like racing. And he said, my heart is truly sorry. I hurt a lot of people. I took a lot of people off their feet with that. And please forgive me and know how truly sorry that I am. He said, you didn't deserve that from me. He said, but just know that he's okay. I think people have been worried, like, is he with God? Is he with Jesus? Is he okay? And not only is he okay, but he just keeps kissing his muscle. So, what do you think that means? Like, usually when they do that, like, they're being funny, but they're also like, I look good.
um there's this picture. So he migrated from El Salvador back years ago, and there's this certain picture that I don't have that picture, but I can vividly see it, and it's him like going like this, and like you can see he was proud of his muscles, and I
Yeah.
don't know, I think that's just what is coming to my brain right now.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because he's done it like 2 or 3 times already. I'm like, okay, you're good looking, like I get it. But I think that's also his way of just like remember me how I was and not the end. And also just he had to come through to let you know that he's okay. And no, he was with your mom at one point? Was it your mom?
Yes.
because her with her now long hair, because she has longer hair now, he's spinning her around like they're dancing. So it's like she is herself. And he said, one day you'll see us again and we'll be dancing. You'll see us dancing. So I hope that this reading for you, bringing some of your loved ones through, has been healing.